Welcome to the Moments That Matter podcast. I am your host, Laura Escamilla.
And I am your co-host, Isaac Escamilla.
And today we have a special guest, our new friend, Maricruz Hinojosa. She is with A&M Engineering at South Texas College. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to learn all about the engineering program, a partnership that A&M has with STC. Maricruz, would you mind telling us a little bit about your role as a project manager and a little bit about this program?
Sure. Again, I serve as project manager for the Texas A&M Engineering Academy at South Texas College. My role is a little bit of everything, I would say. I do a lot of outreach, so visiting the high schools across the region, but also retention of the students that we get in the program, connecting them with the majors that we have available for them and guiding them through their time in the academy and after. So that's my role. And then a little bit about the academy itself. So the academies have existed since 2015. There's 10 locations across the state. The first ones were probably Blinn, closer to College Station, and Houston. And then others started coming up right as they saw the success in this program. South Texas College is one of the newest ones. It started off in fall of 2023. And since then, we're trying to grow that program. Yes.
That's amazing. So I did look at your flyer at the schools, and I guess Blinn makes sense because it is in College Station, and that's a feeder, right, for A&M. So can you tell me a little bit about what makes this program special for you and why somebody would choose to go this route through this partnership with STC?
Right. So if you can think about Texas A&M, engineering is one of the most popular majors, right, at Texas A&M. I would say engineering and business probably. I'll give you an example. In last year, I would say the College of Engineering received about, 16 to 17,000 applications, but they can only accept 5,000 new students each year.
Wow.
And so they have to turn away so many very good candidates, not because they don't meet the requirement, but because of capacity.
Okay.
So they created this to provide an additional pathway for students to get to the College of Engineering. If we think about when we were in the most saturated classes are the first ones. Right. And so there's capacity that is met in College Station. So we're basically telling students, start at one of our academy locations with a partner institution of our choice.
Definitely.
In this case, South Texas College. And then once you're ready to go into your major courses, the saturation is gone.
We have two students in college, and one of them's already graduated, but our son's a junior in college, and for his courses, he refers to them as weed out courses. So once they get to junior year, you've either decided you don't like it or you can't continue successfully on the pathway.
Yes, exactly.
So as they get to year 3, the class sizes are smaller. And so that's what the idea is.
So this has increased quite a bit. So this is increased opportunity for every student to make their way to A&M. That is tremendous because, you're right. Space was finite before. And even if you were qualified to get in, you might not have a spot. So kudos. And how many partnerships do you have now?
We have 10 locations across the state.
That's a lot.
So
That's great.
I'm looking at Austin Community College, Dallas College, Midland College, Tarrant County College, TJC.
Could that be the Tyler?
Yes.
South Texas College, HCC, which is Houston Community College, Blinn, Alamo College District, which is in the San Antonio area, and then Collin College. So that's a good amount.
The only one I knew about before was Blinn.
Yeah.
I think that famously, I knew people that went there when I was in high school.
So what I love about this is there's a lot of talk, and we've done a couple episodes about the transition from community college to a university, but this is a direct path. And what I love that you put on your information is an Aggie from day one. So really including them, I imagine, in the life of an actual A&M Aggie student, even though they're not on campus.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about what that looks like?
There's a couple routes that a student can take to get to the College of Engineering at Texas A&M, right? The most traditional one is go straight. Another one would be a transfer student, right? I would honestly say that's probably the hardest way to get to Texas A&M because the spots are already taken, right? And so transferring in would be very difficult. Coming in through the academy, you're already an Aggie because you're taking your core. It's a co-enrollment program. You're taking your core math, science, core classes of your choice with the partner community college, less expensive, smaller class size.
Definitely.
But your engineering class is with an A&M instructor that we have on the partner community college campus.
That's tremendous.
So that's why the Aggies from day one, they are already within the College of Engineering. There's no transferring process. They simply transition
They're physically
Right.
transferring,
It's
but
just
not
moving,
right.
right? And it's like, where do you want to move? Because they'll have options even then, right? So students can choose, depending on the major that they're interested in, they can choose to move to College Station to complete their bachelor degree, or we have the McAllen Higher Ed Center here in Tres Lagos, right? And it's College Station, McAllen, or Galveston.
Okay.
Even then, they have options.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
very useful.
Tell me a little bit about engineering, very challenging academically. Obviously, you're going to have some rigor and some program requirements. Can you tell me a little bit about entering this academy and what that requires?
Yes, yes. What we're looking at when I talk to my students, I say, I want you to do well across all of your subjects, school
Right.
subjects, but we're really going to be focusing on your math and
Math.
sciences, math more specifically. Yes. And we require for the Engineering Academy, we require students to be coming in college level pre-calculus or above.
Okay.
And they can meet that in a couple of different ways. And so it could be through college credit. So if they did dual enrollment, college algebra in school, perfect. You meet my requirement. An AP class that they may be tested and got credit for.
Do they have to get a specific score on the AP
Just,
exam or just pass
that they get the college credit.
the three
Yes.
or above? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So college credit to make them pre-cal or above. And this is or an ACT score of a 25 in the math or SAT of 560. So it's or,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Just one
There
of
are
those.
several options available.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
So
Great.
for those who I know, I met a student not too long ago, a few weeks ago, that he's like, Miss, do you think I can get into college? And I'm like, why wouldn't you be able to get into college? And he said, because I test terribly. And I was like, he goes, but my grades are really high. So I was like, most schools have an or option.
Right.
You don't need your score and your grades. Like they'll look at your good grades.
That's
They can
correct.
tell. So this is a very similar situation to what I told him. It's not everything. You don't have to have all the boxes
Yeah.
checked. You take that into consideration. There's a lot of students who don't test well or choose not to now that a lot of schools are test optional and not take the test. So their scores in school, their dual and AP can supersede that.
Yes.
So that's great to know. Can you talk to me a little bit about the application process? Is it different for them? For anybody entering this academy, is there something on the application where they note that this is what they're looking at?
Sure. So I mentioned the different pathways, right? So for students that are interested in going straight to College Station, that application is currently open, closes December 1st. When that one closes, mine opens.
Okay.
So our application for fall 2025 will become available on December 1st.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So first step for a student interested in the academy is to submit an application to the partner community college. In this case, South Texas College, right? That would be the first step, making sure that they have all the stuff aligned, transcripts with STC, which for the most part our students here do because they do dual enrollment.
Right.
Next step is to get pre-qualified. So we actually pre-screen our students before we even release the application.
Oh, wow.
If they do not meet our math readiness requirement, we do not release the application, right? That pre-qualification form is already open and available. We're simply asking the students, it's a very basic form, asking the students about their math readiness, what classes, rigor of classes have you taken, what tests have you done, to get an idea of where the student is standing academically, specifically in math. And if they meet the pre-qualification form, then on December 1st, we start releasing the application, right? After that, then the application will become available to them. They can submit the application. And it will be open up until June 15.
Okay.
So it's open for a pretty significant
That
time.
is that's pretty well. That's a
So
long while.
what happens in a situation where I'm the student, I've applied to A&M, I've gone into A&M, but I did not get into the engineering program.
Yeah.
And this is a pathway for me. What happens to me then? Like, how do I as a student transition to be considered for this?
And we've had that situation. So a student would simply not accept the offer to go to College Station if they didn't get into the College of Engineering and choose the academy route. So they're welcome to, if they want to submit both applications. Again, they're separate applications. There's the general application to go straight to College Station and then the one for the academy. They'll receive the offers. The student can decide.
Okay,
right, which
perfect.
is
So
the
they
best
can
route
apply
for
to
them.
both and
Yes.
determine later what's
Great. And just to be clear, that pre-qualification is available now?
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
We're
That's good to
already
know.
screening students.
Fantastic.
right. You open December 1st for
Right.
the academy.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
So are there specific scholarships or financial aid opportunities for students through the academy through STC or A&M, or are there options for that when they apply?
So while in the academies, the primary institution is South Texas
Right.
College because that's where they're taking the majority of their courses. So
Mhm.
when I meet with students, I tell them your FAFSA, STC, everything STC,
Okay.
scholarships, everything through STC. So one of the cool things is just recently STC announced the Promise program,
Mhm.
right? So we have students that if they're in some of our local schools here in the RGV, then they may qualify for the
Mhm.
Promise program, right? And so I do have some students that for their STC courses, they don't have to worry about it. If they qualify for the full amount of financial aid, then they may possibly have monies left over and they can use that then towards their one TAMU class. So these
Okay.
are two separate bills.
Okay.
They will be two separate
Oh,
bills.
okay. Understood. So how does that work if they get a separate bill for and are they filing a different like FAFSA or they pay out of pocket?
They would pay out
Out
of
of pocket
pocket.
for the class.
Yeah. And so we've had students that will set up a payment plan, wait for the disbursement from financial
it.
aid,
And then pay it
the
off.
other one off.
That's
Got it.
useful. Yes.
Yes.
I think I've had to do something like that when I was an undergrad.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then once they get to the year that they would go to A&M, they would follow the same A&M process
Once they're in A&M, you do your financial aid now completely with
at
A&M.
A&M.
Okay.
Okay, understood.
Mhm.
After completing the enrollment phase at STC, then they're going to go to, then if they're accepted A&M, what does that look like for them? Are they going to be, would you recommend, I guess I'm thinking like they need to know that A&M is somewhere they want to go. I mean, that's where
Right.
it sounds great, but what if they get to their third year and A&M is not somewhere they want to be? You mentioned that there's other campuses that they can go to, not just College Station.
Mhm.
What would you suggest parents do or students do when considering this program?
If families have the opportunity to visit prior to, that's amazing, right? But just an FYI, during their time in the academy, the academy program takes the students to College Station
Oh, okay.
at no cost.
Okay.
We cover that, transportation, hotel, all of that, a couple of times during their time in the academy. So they get familiarized with the city, with the
Mhm.
campus.
Perfect.
We're actually taking them to a game next month or this
Oh,
month, November
nice.
16th.
That-
So you're
We
current
What a great
students.
experience.
Yes, right. And so they get exposed to all of that. So not only do we take them to College Station, they have an orientation, they get to do other events to meet with our other academy location students,
Okay.
right? So they network even within. I also took them to the McAllen Higher Ed Center so
Mhm.
that they could see the opportunities that they have there. I have yet to bring up taking them to Galveston, but that would be an idea because I have a prospective student for fall 2025 already that expressed interest in ocean engineering. I said,
Okay.
"Yeah, maybe I could plan a visit to
That would make sense.
Galveston." Yeah.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
we've talked about how important it is for the students to view the culture and
Yes.
experience, I should say, the culture of the campus at Texas A&M. I was not a student there. Neither was Laura, but we do visit about once a year for a scholarship banquet.
Oh, got it.
And it is a huge deal. And the experience is unique. And A&M is like no other. And they do everything in a certain way. And I always forget to say howdy back when they say howdy. And they know I'm not an Aggie because they'll say howdy and I'll say hi.
Yeah.
So,
Hey.
Yeah.
yes. But it is very important for them to either, have something to look forward to in reference to the campus culture and campus life at College Station, or maybe realize that maybe that's not the exact fit that I'm looking for.
And
for
that's
themselves.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
okay.
What is there a difference between the programs that are offered at each of the campuses
Mhm.
when they transition? You mentioned that they can go to the A&M, the McAllen campus, the College Station, or Galveston. Are there different programs offered at
Yes.
each?
Yes. So at College Station, they have access to all 22 majors. I'm sorry, you
Mhm.
have them
Yeah.
listed on here.
Okay.
But they have access to
Wow,
all
that's
these
a
majors.
lot of engineering.
And then in McAllen, they have 2 options available to them. And then in Galveston, I believe there's 4 or 5 of these. And so we make them aware of the options that are available. And just an FYI, for engineering, regardless of whether they go straight to College Station or start in one of the academy locations, all students have to do 1 year of general engineering.
Okay.
They get to learn a little bit about all of them
Everything.
before they choose.
Okay.
Excellent.
And so we help them narrow down their choices and they can decide, okay, which major and what location. So we help them navigate all of that.
I'm going to mention the majors just because we're on audio.
Yes.
But computer engineering, electronic systems, interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, aerospace, biomedical, computer science, environmental engineering, manufacturing and mechanical engineering tech, nuclear engineering,
Wow.
architectural engineering, chemical, data, industrial distribution, material science, ocean engineering, biological and agriculture, civil, electrical, industrial, mechanical, and petroleum.
Oh my gosh.
That
That
is
is an
a lot of
extensive
engineering.
list. Which one is the most popular?
I would say last year I noticed a lot of interest in the computer science, computer
Mhm.
engineering. Petroleum is very popular. They feel like they don't have to recruit because they get so many applications.
Wow.
So I would say those are some of the ones. Mechanical, electrical are
Mhm.
always popular. And in the RGB, I feel all my boys want civil.
Yeah.
Everyone wants civil engineering.
And through Star Scholarship, we partner with Next Decade, which is LNG. They offer funds and offer scholarships. And we had a lot of A&M students, but they focus on the engineering students. So I'm looking at all these different types of
Yes.
engineering, and that's amazing. But there are opportunities out there because there are a lot of businesses, organizations, and the Rio Grande, they're starting their new plant in the Brownsville area, and they need to
Mhm.
recruit all these students. So there are jobs for these students.
Yes. Another thing that I try to do with the academy, again, the one here and the RGV started 2023, 9 students was the first cohort, one girl. My personal goal was not only to grow the program, but also
To
my
female.
females in
Mhm.
engineering.
Which
Yes.
is big
Oh,
with Next Decade also. They
Oh,
recruit
wonderful.
females.
I
Yeah.
need to tap into that.
Yeah.
And then for fall 2024, 33 new students, 10 females.
There
So
we
I
go.
was very excited about
Nice.
that.
It's
So
growing. That's great.
yes,
I like
yeah.
that.
And I try my best to connect them. We do a lot to connect them with industry. We take them to the largest student-led career fair in the nation at College Station, but I also try to connect them here. So if
Mhm.
there's anything you want to help me connect them with,
Yes, I will give you her information because they are so great and they offer a lot of internship
Okay.
opportunities.
That would be
and they focus
awesome.
on all engineering, STEM in general, but they are recruiting female, trying to incorporate the female aspect into them. So
we try to invite
I
visitors to
met
the
a lot of
classroom
great
too.
people. Yeah, there.
So that would be
Yeah, for sure.
awesome. Last year, was it last year? In the spring, I took my students to Half Engineering Associates. They got to meet with some of the engineers there, see what projects they were working on and that.
Yes.
I took them to Coca-Cola as well to see how,
Mhm.
that works and from the classroom apply it to real life. So that
Actual
was
production.
yes.
Yeah.
And so my goal is to continue doing some more of that, connecting them with industry in the region as well for those that want to stay local.
That's awesome. So, can we talk a little bit about the benefits of this program? I know off air, we talked about the financial aspect, the benefit of that, of sticking the first 2 years, helping financially, staying at STC because the core classes are less expensive there
Mhm.
than they would be at a larger university. Can we talk a little bit about the benefits or the unique experience they're getting through this program?
Sure. So I would say, yes, that, the financial, I think it's the most obvious one
Yeah.
because they're taking 3 of their courses with the partner community college at their cost, just that one TAMU class with us. But the financial, the smaller class size, being close to your supports for that time frame where you're trying to figure out, is this for me? Am I going to make this through, right? Am
Yes,
I going to
indeed.
do this? And I think those are all benefits. You also get to go to College Station a couple of times before you move. And so the transition might be just a little bit smoother for you. It's not as scary.
Mhm.
So I think for some of our students that want that time, then this is an opportunity for you.
And do you have any students that you can tell us about that have made this choice and what that was like for them? And you mentioned one student that
Yes.
sticks out. If you could share that, it was a wonderful scenario. Yeah.
I'll share too. So yes, I had one student, valedictorian, that she could have gone anywhere. And she was accepted to Texas A&M College Station to go straight, but she chose to start local because she prioritizes mental health. And so she wanted to be close to her support system while she navigated that first year of the university college life, right? And I think she saw the benefit of that. And now she tells me she is very thankful that she chose this route because it has really just helped her take care of her needs. And of course, education is important, but not when it jeopardizes your mental health.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Another one, so again, this serves the entire region,
Mhm.
right? Starr County, Hidalgo, Cameron, Willacy. And so I have students from Roma right now in my academy that are taking their core classes at the STC campus in Rio Grande,
Oh, okay.
right? So the transportation part is also beneficial to them. They only come to McAllen once a week. So this would not have been an option. They have chosen any. So they're Aggies, they live in Roma, right? And so,
Right.
yeah, they are also considering the McAllen Higher Ed Center, but they don't have to make the move until they're done with the academy.
That is very useful. Meet them where they are.
And how about the resources? We've talked a lot about to other universities, and it's really big for us, not just mental health, but just resources if they're struggling, if they need tutoring, if they need additional services. I imagine that whatever STC offers, that is accessible to them. But is there another avenue that A&M offers them too?
Yeah, so they have access to more resources, I feel like,
Hmm.
when they're in the academy because they have all the resources available to them at South Texas College, as well as Texas A&M, College Station, but also HECM, the McAllen Higher Ed Center in McAllen. So when I took them, they got to learn about what they would have access to if they become students there, but also what they have access to now
Hmm.
as local Aggies. And so they have more resources, I would say.
Double the
Yes.
It
resources.
sounds like
Yeah.
triple
Yeah,
in some
and
cases.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is there assistance for them once they get to that point when they're ready to transition? Not just the classes, and I'm sure advising and all that happens, but when choosing a location, housing, and because students live on campus usually their first year. So now
Mhm.
we're getting them in their third year. That looks very different, I imagine.
Yeah.
Moving, and then are you on campus? Are you off campus?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
does that look like transitioning for them?
So because mine is fairly new, I
Mhm.
haven't experienced it much yet, but I know from other academy locations, the students connect so much and they build like this little community and
But
they're
they
like,
kind of
okay,
room
let's
together.
go room together.
Okay.
Let's go get. And so right now I've only had one transition to College Station already, one to HECM. And so I have a couple more that are leaving this spring already, two to HECM. And then a couple more to College Stations. I know that will happen, and those conversations are already happening in the classroom with my
Right.
girls, right? Hey, do we find a
Mhm.
place? And I usually tell them when we go over there, take advantage, kind of scout, right?
Yes.
Because we have their assigned schedule when we do trips, but they also have some free time. They're adults.
Yeah,
Right.
Right. So if
definitely.
you want to go look at your options, by all means, and I can support those processes
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
interesting.
Mhm.
Now, do you ever have a scenario where a student decides, I really like this. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go to Texas A&M now. Is that even an option? If they decide, I just want to go early and I think I know what this is about, or do they have to complete the cycle, so to speak, locally first?
That's a really good question. They have to complete
Okay.
so it's a minimum of 1 year in the academy, max of 2. And every student, again, I mentioned the general engineering year that they have to do because they have to go through a process called ETEM. And I will go into so much if we go into that, but it's entry to a major. So there's a
Mhm.
required set of courses that you have to take to apply into your major. And so we have academic advisors that guide them through that process. If you move, I'm thinking you would have to move into as a transfer because if you choose to do it prior to the way we have it
The way
arranged
the
for
system
them.
is set up
Right,
for them.
right.
But 1 year is not bad either. If after the
Right.
1
It's
year
2
they're ready.
semesters.
Yeah.
It's 2
So I guess
semesters.
the advice is maybe be patient
Be patient.
because it will be
Yeah.
fruitful. Because you mentioned transition is guaranteed,
Because you're
but a
already.
transfer isn't necessarily. Got it.
So all options for a student only available out of high school. So if they're a student that maybe they were doing something else and now they're interested in this academy in engineering.
Yes. And so I not only recruit within the high schools, but also within South Texas College
Right.
or
Mhm.
any partner or community college across the area. So they could be continuing college students. That's okay.
Okay.
They can apply into the academy. They have to have a certain amount of hours for us to have you enrolled in the academy for that time frame that's required. So when I have students graduating, and this happens a lot in the RGV with their associate degree, you could still potentially do the academy route, but I would need to really check what's your highest math level. You need to have enough
You
math
still have
to
to
be
have that
enrolled
math
and,
criteria.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so-
let's say they don't. Is there a way to beef up those requirements personally to get to the level where you would be accepted into the academy? Is that a possibility? Maybe go to take some classes somewhere just to get
before
better?
the academy.
Right. Let's say their grades just aren't good enough or their scores aren't good enough to get into the academy and they're not coming out of high school. Is there a way for them to build themselves up?
So I have had that situation. And what I ask the students is just to stay connected with me, stay at South Texas College,
Mhm.
work on meeting the requirements, and apply for the following.
There we go. So it is
Yeah.
possible
Yes, it is.
for them
Yes,
to
yes.
grow into it.
Yes,
Great.
especially if they need to work on maybe their remedial courses, that's okay. So South Texas College offers that. That's our partner institution. Stay with us, stay connected, and we'll have you apply once you're ready.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Because I was looking and I guess my thought process was like Isaac, like computer engineering and the computer science aspect. He went into just a business major, but he's focused on MIS, right? But if he decided when he was in college, if after 2 years of doing that, I want to do something more engineering focused or technically focused, he could choose to do that if his math scores are great.
Right. And I bounced around as an undergrad quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think we all do.
Yeah. But I mean, they're still in the same realm. Like you're looking at computer information systems and that kind of stuff. So that I think there's a lot of options here.
Yes.
to what is data engineering? Just out of curiosity.
I actually would not be able to say much about it, but we have specific events for the students to learn about them. And they hear from professors, they hear from deans and students themselves that are already within those programs,
Very
maybe
cool.
what they're learning, what internships they've done. And so it helps the student, again, narrow down their choices. I usually tell them to have their top 3, top 5 in mind. When I meet with high school students, they feel like pressured to already know. I said, don't worry, you'll have an additional year.
Right.
And I honestly feel like they did this general engineering to decrease the amount of change of majors that happen because it happens to
Oh, yes. I started off as a music major, so a long way around.
Yeah. And our son, he's a finance major, but as, like I said, getting to those weed out classes, it's if I don't pass, then what else do I become a major in? Because you have to keep, for his university, a B+ in those finance classes.
Okay.
So if I don't get the B+, because you get nervous when you get a midterm comes in, oh my gosh, if I don't get that B+, what do I do?
Yeah.
In those kind of different aspects, it's nerve-wracking, but this is a lot of options. That's awesome. More than a business major.
I am really impressed with the amount of options that are available. That is a huge list. It's a long list.
What advice do we have for high school seniors, for parents who want to consider this program and they want to figure out if it's the right fit? Obviously, there's information for them to read up online, but do you have any recommendations on what to do?
When I meet with students, I tell them, I mean, if you are interested in math or like math, sometimes those don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
If you're good in math
Right.
or love math, I don't know. So math's going to be big. So if you like it or are good at it, this is awesome. If you are just naturally a problem solver, then this is probably a good route for you. And doing good, again, in all the classes, but specifically the maths and sciences, if they can be exposed, if they're in the K-12 system and you want to guide to the listeners, if they want to guide their child to engineering, exposure to robotics, right? Maybe coding, to help them start deciding if this is something they're interested in. So exposing our students into these so that they can decide if it's a good pathway for them. I would encourage to take the college entrance exams when they're in high school, maybe try to take some APs or college classes to start getting used to that rigor as well. That's always helpful. Not too much where it'll jeopardize their mental health.
Of
We
course.
do not want that to affect their college transcripts. We do not want that either. So all students are different. If the students are able to, then awesome, right? Take advantage of all those opportunities that are available for our students here in the RGB. And then taking those math classes. If you are capable of going higher up in your math classes, then that'll show the rigor when students are applying into these universities, especially for engineering.
So if we're talking to current high school seniors, first, be aware of the deadlines. If you've applied to A&M already in engineering program, that deadline's December, and then this opens up and you can apply to both. Right. So
correct.
If you are really dead set on being an engineering major, this is a pathway for you if you don't get in straight through A&M.
Correct.
So you can apply to both. And if we're talking to parents of freshmen and sophomores and are interested in this, we want to really focus on math. We want to get those ACT, SAT scores up, take those AP classes and pass them, and the dual, obviously, and get that credit. And we've had plenty of podcasts on dual and AP, like on what's better and what's easy, what works best for your student. But math. And I guess if you're a parent and that your child is naturally talented at that, because we knew that our son immediately was a math person, and you could see that in your kids pretty early on. And if they're looking for something that interests them, this is a recommendation to look at these engineering programs. So as we wrap everything up, where can our listeners learn more about the program? You have an office here. you're located at STC, where could they speak to you or set up a meeting with you if they wanted?
So I am located at the South Texas College Pecan campus in McAllen. That's where I office and that's where my students take their courses. They can find me on campus or I can provide my contact information, right? My email would be mhinojosa@tamu.edu. And then a really helpful website that I have is with South Texas College. It's southtexascollege.edu/Tamu Engineering. We'll put it up on the screen for you all, but
Yes.
it has all the info for the students, right? And for you as well as a parent, if you want my contact information, where I'm located, some success stories are on this webpage too. All the info can be found in this page, and you can find my contact info.
Virtually new programs. We're talking small cohorts, small class sizes, a great opportunity to make it. And, again, we've talked about transitioning from community college to a university after 2 years, but this is a straight path. You can do the same thing, prepare yourself, but you don't have to worry about transferring or doing any of that, which sounds amazing.
This sounds like a very firm path, because you can have to do it on your own. It's not guaranteed. But this, if you can meet the requirements for that cohort, then you have a path.
Yeah. And so what I tell the students when I go out and present, it's like, it doesn't matter where you start. As long as you persist and do what's required of you, the ultimate goal, check mark, will still be accomplished, right? You're graduating as an Aggie engineer.
Right. That's the end. And that's the goal. I like that a lot.
Thank you so much for sharing all about this. This is amazing information, and I hope that people take advantage.
Yes, and we'll put the link. I know it's kind of a long URL in the description of the podcast. So when you go to the description, when you're looking at this podcast, that link will be there so we can get all the information for you.
Awesome.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Gagam.